Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the Transportation and Commerce Committee meeting today, Tuesday, May 23rd at 9 a.m. via Zoom. Madam Clerk, just a point of, I guess, order. The agenda has Tuesday misspelled. So if we could have that updated for our minutes, that would be wonderful for the next meeting.
So noted.
Otherwise, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Narayan.
Here.
Alderman Velazquez. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderman Browning.
Here.
Chair Cohn.
Present.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman.
Present.
Alderwoman Velazquez. You're gonna.
I thought I saw her online.
Okay, there you go. You're unmuted. Alderwoman Velazquez. I do see her. We have 5 present. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Chairman,
we have
just a quick point of order. I'm going to go ahead and text Daniela just to see if she's having some tech issue or something, because I see that she's on the call, but she's just not responding. She's unmuted and on the call, but she didn't respond. So I'm going to reach out and see if I can figure out what's going on there.
Sounds good. Much appreciated. Thank you. We have quite a few items on the agenda today. I believe all of them are pertaining to the airport. So we'll go ahead and take those up. If we could, Rhonda, we do have some new members with the committee here.
Shane, you just muted yourself.
I didn't think I did, but so if you could just take an opportunity to maybe introduce everyone and share what, or they can introduce themselves and share what their role is out at the airport, just to make sure that everyone kind of knows the players, so to speak. That would be wonderful. And then we'll dive into the various agenda items.
Great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rhonda Homney-Briggy, and I'm the airport director here. With me, I have Antonio Strong. Antonio Strong is our deputy for finance and accounting, and he is a CPA by trade, so we're very lucky to have him. Rob Salarano is our manager over in the properties department. So Rob has been with the airport, I don't want to say this, but 30 plus years, I think. So our senior member, well-versed in all of the airport. Typically, along with myself, these are the 2 individuals that you will see that present to the Transportation and Commerce Committee. So every once in a while, we'll have one of the other deputy directors join us if there's an item particular to them. But for the most part, who you will see at these meetings is Antonio, myself, and Rob Salarano.
Thank you, Rhonda. Alderman Narayan, were you able to get a hold of Alderwoman Velazquez?
Yeah, I just texted her. She said that she just joined from her phone.
I can hear you all now. I just the
wonderful.
audio's not working on my computer, so it's me. Promise, on hologram or anything.
I think Taylor Swift has that copyrighted. It's me. Hi. It's me. The problem. It's me. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. We'll dive into the agenda here. Item number 1 is board bill number 10. Rhonda, if you would present on board bill number 10.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to have Antonio present this. Board Bill number 10 is extremely important to us. It's a project that was put on hold during the privatization period, something that we desperately need. And then COVID hit, so now it's back on the table. And I'm going to let Antonio present this, and then we'll both be available for questions.
Wonderful. Thank you. Antonio, take it away.
Hey, good morning, Transportation and Commerce Committee members and board chair. So this memorandum of agreement between the city, the airport and Southwest, outlines the agreement between both parties, whereas the city will finance, contract for, administer, and manage the expansion and renovation of Terminal 2 baggage area. And Southwest will reimburse the city for the full cost of the project. And if anybody has been in the baggage area Terminal 2, you will see that that project is very much needed. So this has been a long process, as the director mentioned, that actually started back in 2017 or 2018. Bonds were sold for a smaller expansion of that area, but discussions were held between the airport and Southwest over several months and years to expand the area to a larger footprint, as outlined in Exhibit A to this board bill, to a larger 11,000 square foot facility. Also, the pandemic caused many delays in going forward with this project than earlier than now. So please note that funding for this project was brought to the commission for approval in a cost of $60 million in November 2022 and approved at that meeting. However, after that meeting, we continued to have discussions with Southwest and decided, due to the terms of the airport use and lease agreement and other liability considerations, we had to pivot to sell the bonds as special facility bonds, whereas Southwest will be responsible for all of the debt service associated with selling and using the bonds. And we will bring that forward to you for approval in the near future for this $60 million special facility bonds. A few of the key terms in this agreement are noted in section 10A and B of this board bill. Southwest agrees to pay the principal and interest payments for the $60 million special facility bonds. Section 12, Southwest agrees to pay any rent related to the increased footprint of the baggage area. In section 13, if Southwest ceases to occupy the Terminal 2 premises, Southwest will provide funds to defease the outstanding special facility bonds within 18 months. One more item to note, we are currently working on, as I mentioned, the $60 million special facility bonds, and we'll bring that forward to you in the future. At this time, we are respectfully requesting your approval of this memorandum of agreement between the city and Southwest Airlines.
Chairman, if I may, I'd like to just add one comment to that. So, I think for the members that are new to this Transportation and Commerce Committee, I know that Chairman Cohn and I know Alderwoman, let's see, we've got a couple of other ones on here. Spencer has been with us for a while and is very familiar with the airport. But this is a significant project for us, and the partnership that we have with Southwest is extremely important, both for the local community, but also that connecting traffic that they are pushing through St. Louis, which is a substantial source of revenue for us and for the growth of our airport. One of the things I want to make sure that people understand is, we're working on a total another project, which is a consolidated terminal project, and Southwest still felt it was important enough to spend $60 million. They're very supportive of moving the new terminal forward, but they also want to make sure that in the 6 or 7 years they have remaining in Terminal 2, that the experience for the customers down there is a good one. So I think when we think about the impact of an airline spending $60 million on a project that at best is probably only going to be there for 7 years of its lifespan, of what would normally be a 20 or 25-year lifespan, I think is a pretty significant investment. So I just wanted to add that a little bit of flavor to the importance of this project. Thank you.
You're on mute, Chairman.
I just noticed that, sorry. Thank you, Rhonda. We'll go ahead and take questions from the committee. I'll start with Vice Chair Spencer.
Boy, I'm having technical difficulties as well. I have no questions. Thank you, Director. I am in complete support of this. I've really appreciate the commitment that Southwest has to St. Louis under many, many years of negotiating that. And I think this is an excellent project for the city.
Great. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderman Narayan.
No questions. Just want to say this is a long time coming, and I'm happy to see that we're picking up where we left off. What seems like years and years ago now. So thank you all for your hard work on this.
I think it's because it was years and years ago now. Alderwoman Velasquez.
No questions, Chair. Would like,
Uh-oh.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is the appropriate time to ask that.
It is. Madam Clerk, can you please make note of that?
So noted.
Thank you. Alderman Browning.
No questions, just want to express my support and hopefully all of St. Louis's support forward to the change and the progress that's to come.
Wonderful. With that, I will entertain a motion for Board Bill number 10.
I move that we Board Bill number 10 out of TNC with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
It's and motioned by the Alderman Narayan. Forgive me, I'm still trying to remember ward numbers here. And seconded by Alderman Browning that we pass Board Bill number 10 out with a due pass recommendation. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Spencer.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez.
Aye.
Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Chair Cohn.
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus. We have 5 aye votes.
All right, with your motion, you sustain the passage of Board Bill number 10 out of committee with a due pass recommendation. On to item number 2, which is Board Bill number 11. Rhonda, you want to kick us off there?
Yes, these next 6 board bills, Antonio will present as well. They are all connected and tied together. So it's a little complicated, but Antonio, as always, will do a good job of walking through them.
Wonderful. Antonio?
Okay, yeah, so as the director mentioned, all of the next 6 board bills are kind of related. I'm going to give you a little bit of background structure of how we take across capital improvement board bills to the committee. So the dome structure of the airport opened in 1956, which was more than about 65 years ago. And as you can imagine, any structure that old would always need capital improvement projects to maintain the integrity of that structure. So we do that with capital improvement board bills, which are subsequently turned into ordinances. And those ordinances are created to authorize the capital improvement projects we need to maintain the airport and authorize the funding sources for those projects. As an airport, our typical funding sources are general airport revenue bonds, federal and local grants, passenger facility charges, and airport development funds. Occasionally, when we procure the CIP projects and bids are received for the projects, sometimes they come in at a cost that is less than the estimated cost when we created the funding sources. So for example, if we estimate a project would cost $100,000, we would put that into our ordinance, and our funding sources would procure those fundings. Well, it will encumber that $100,000, but the bid may come in at $85,000, which means that we have a $15,000 savings. So when this happens, the amount of the savings stay within the ordinance until we request a supplemental appropriation to use the funds for additional projects for the airport. So the next 6 board bills are requesting the use of savings that we achieved from previously approved ordinances that we plan to use for projects in fiscal year 23 and 24. So with that being said, I will move right into Board Bill number 11. So Board Bill number 11 is requesting to use funds in Ordinance number 65163 to procure 5 electric shuttles. The cost of those shuttles approximately $440,000 from our airport development fund. But we would also receive 1.3 million in airport improvement grants from the federal government. So at this time, I request your approval for this ordinance to use those unused funds within 65163.
Thanks, Antonio. We'll go ahead and take questions from the committee with respect to Board Bill number 11. I'll start with Vice Chair Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no questions. I'm excited to see the savings put to good use.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderman Narayan.
No questions. Thank you.
Alderwoman Velasquez.
No questions, thank you.
Alderman Browning.
No questions.
Great. I don't have any questions either. I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill number 11.
So moved.
There's
Second.
no motion. There's
Can I make a motion?
Move that we pass Board Bill 11 out of TNC with a do pass recommendation.
I move that we pass this board bill out of
There-
committee with pass recommendation.
so there's already a motion. Alderwoman, do you want to second that?
Yes, I will second that.
So it's been moved by the Alderman Narayan, and it's been seconded by Alderwoman Velasquez that we pass Board Bill number 11 out with a do pass recommendation. Is there a call for previous roll?
Previous roll.
Is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, Board Bill number 11 passes out with a do pass recommendation. Next on the agenda is Board Bill number 12. Antonio.
So Board Bill number 12, again, we are using savings and uncommitted funds that are in Ordinance 67357. We are using approximately $750,000 from our Airport Development Fund for a project which is called Replacing Switch Gear Terminal 1 Apron Level Center MTSB3. Very technical information there. But we are using these unsafe savings and uncommitted funds for this project. And at this time, I request your approval to use these funds for this project.
Great. Are there any questions from the committee? Since these board bills are all related, I'll just go ahead and, so if anyone has questions, raise your hands. Or speak up if you're having technical difficulty. I don't see any hands. I'm not hearing anyone raise their voice with any questions. I will entertain a motion on Board Bill number 12.
I move that we pass Board Bill number 12 out of TNC with a do pass recommendation.
Second.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved by the Alderman. Man, I keep wanting to say 24th, but it's been moved by Alderman Narayan that we pass Board Bill number 12 out with a do pass recommendation. It's been seconded by Alderman Browning. And is there a
Previous
call for previous? Thank you. Any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, Board Bill number 12 passes out with a do pass recommendation. Thank you. On to Board Bill number 13. Mr. Strong.
Yes, sir. Board Bill number 13, we are requesting approval to open up Ordinance 69870 and use the savings and uncommitted fund from that for a roadways pavement rehabilitation project. The cost of that project is approximately 1.2 million, and we are using 1.2 million from our Airport Development Fund that maintains in that ordinance for this project. And at this time, I request your approval for this project.
Are there any questions from the committee? If so, raise your hand or make your voice heard. I am not seeing any hands nor hearing any voices. I will entertain a motion on Board Bill number 13.
I move that we pass board bill number 13 out of TNC with a do pass recommendation. And I'm the alderman from the 4th.
I'll second. Alderwoman from the 6th.
I knew the 6th. Thank you. So and I kind of was piecing together the 4th, 24th, 4th. That's an easy kind of mental note there. So it has been moved by the alderman of the 4th ward that we pass out board bill number 13 with the do pass recommendation. It was seconded by the alderman of the 6th ward. Is there a call for previous? There's been a motion for previous roll. Is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, board bill number 13 passes out with a do pass recommendation. On to agenda item number 5, which is board bill number 14. Antonio, will you please give us the overview of board bill number 14?
Yes, so board bill number 14, we are requesting the approval to open up ordinance 70140 and utilize the savings and uncommitted funds from that for a project which we deem Terminal 1 bridge over the Terminal 1 baggage claim. We are requesting use of $800,000 from our airport development fund for this project. And at this time, I request your approval for this project.
Great. Are there any questions from the committee? Hearing and seeing no questions from the committee, I will entertain a motion on board bill number 13.
Is it 13 or 14? That's
Oh, I'm sorry, 14.
I move that we pass board bill number 14 out of TNC with a do pass recommendation.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by the alderman of the 4th ward that we pass out board bill number 14 with the do pass recommendation. It was seconded by the alderman of the 9th ward. Is there a call for previous roll?
Previous roll.
Is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, board bill number 14 passes out with a do pass recommendation. Item number 6, item number 6 on the agenda, board bill number 15. Antonio.
So I apologize in advance for this, but this board bill we should have removed. And the reason why is, as I mentioned, our first board bill number 10, the Southwest MOA agreement for the T2 baggage claim. Previously, we thought we were going to fund this project with general airport revenue bonds, but we determined that we really need to consider liability considerations, and we pivoted and we decided that we need to sell special facility bonds to make Southwest liable for those bonds. So this board bill still refers to the general airport revenue bonds, and I think we need to remove this board bill.
Okay. Just to be clear, so Rhonda, you're supportive of that as well, I presume?
Yes, we, Antonio and I actually discovered this morning as we were walking through each one again and realized that that one should have been removed. So our apologies for not letting you know in advance.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and just hold this in committee. Madam Clerk, can you make note of that on the agenda or on the meeting minutes?
So noted.
Great. And then item number 7, which is board bill number 16.
So
Yes.
board bill number 16, so we are requesting to open up ordinance number 71005 to fund 2 projects. We have 2 projects. One is a runway project that when we opened bids, the bids came in more than the amount of funding that we needed. So we need to open up this ordinance to obtain about $6.8 million of funding for this project. There's also another project, Emergency Operations Center, that we're asking to utilize 1.7 million from this ordinance for that project, which also is going to be a little bit more than our estimated costs. So we are asking for your approval to move forward with these two projects, the runway project and emergency operations center, utilizing funds from this ordinance number 71005. And at this time, I request your approval for these two projects.
And Mr. Chairman, I have one comment, if I may.
Sure.
So on the Emergency Operations Center, the second project in this particular one, that will remain even if we move forward with the new terminal. The location of that is such that it would remain and be part of the new terminal. So it is a long-lasting project, not a short-lived project. And obviously on the runway, a lot of bids in the last year and a half or 2 years coming out of COVID have come in much higher based on materials than what was anticipated. So we worked very closely with the FAA because a significant portion of this project, 75% is funded by the FAA. So the FAA also had to come up with the additional funding, which they agreed to and did. So two complicated projects, but both that will be long-term lasting projects here.
Great. Thank you, Director. Any questions from the committee with respect to Board Bill 16? I am not seeing any hands nor hearing any voices. I would entertain a motion on Board Bill number 16.
I move that we pass Board Bill number 16 out of T&C with a do pass recommendation.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by the Alderman of the 4th Ward, seconded by the Alderman of the 9th Ward that we pass Board Bill 16 out with a do pass recommendation. Is there a call for previous roll?
Previous roll.
Is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, Board Bill number 16 passes out of committee with a do pass recommendation. Item number 8 on the agenda is Board Bill number 17. Antonio, I've lost count of how many we've gone through at this point with respect to your 5 or 6 left. Is this one being presented by you as well?
Yeah, this is me too. So
okay.
So this is an annual request. As board members or members of this committee, you will actually see me come forward to this committee every year with this request. So this is an annual request that is required per our bond indenture and our airport use and lease agreement with the airline. So we are required to perform an annual $13.7 million transfer from our airport debt service stabilization fund to the airport revenue fund. And the reason why we do this is to help us maintain a healthy debt service coverage ratio of 1.25 or better, and to mitigate our rates. So that calculation is basically the amount of revenue that we have to cover our debt service. So that debt service stabilization fund was established many years ago to provide comfort to the investment community when we sell bonds, that we have enough to cover any debt payment deficiencies that we may have or any operational emergencies. So prior to requesting this approval, of course, we took this to the Airport Commission, but we also take this forward to the Comptroller and receive her approval before we request approvals along the way. So the current balance in the debt service stabilization fund is $22.4 million, which means that we definitely have enough to make this transfer, and then we will make that transfer back into the fund after year end. And at this time, we respectfully request your approval to transfer the funds and transfer the funds back after year end.
Hey, are there any questions from the committee on Board Bill number 17? Hearing and seeing no questions on Board Bill number 17, I'll entertain a motion on Board Bill number 17.
I move that we pass Board Bill number 17 out of T&C with a do pass recommendation.
Second.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved by the Alderman of the 4th Ward, seconded by the Alderman of the 9th Ward, that we pass Board Bill number 17 out with a due pass recommendation.
Previous roll.
There's been a call for previous roll. Is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, Board Bill number 17 passes out with a due pass recommendation. Thank you, everyone. Next on the agenda is Board Bill number 18.
And Rob Salarano from our departments will present 18, 19, and 20.
Great, thank you. Rob,
Good,
Mr. Salarano.
good morning, committee. Yes, so Robert Salarano, I'm the Airport Properties Division Manager. Good morning, committee chair, aldermen, alderwomen. These next two board bills, 18 and 19, are closely related. Board bill number 18 authorizes the director of the airports to execute a lease agreement for the FAA control tower premises at the airport. This is a 20-year lease commencing on July 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2043. The government, the Federal Aviation Administration, owns the tower, but we own the premises that the tower sits on. The lease does include 60 Terminal 1 parking spaces for use by FAA staff. There is no rental payment due from the FAA. They operate the tower and operate the air traffic control system in return for the premises. And as I said, the tower is government property. We respectfully request your approval of this lease agreement with the FAA.
Great. So just a couple questions from me, Rob. Some just for general education of the committee members here. What happens if we don't provide the lease agreement to the FAA?
They don't operate the tower and we don't operate an airport.
Yeah, this is an FAA document that they provide. And so there's not a whole lot of room.
Yeah, I don't view it as an option, but I just thought I'd ask the question for everyone's consumption here. And then the second question, which is more plausible, how does this fit in with the airport redesign? And are we moving? I can't recall. Are we moving the tower at all in the redesign?
So the redesign incorporates the tower in its current position, which is great. You know, the tower is, in terms of aviation, considered fairly new. I think the tower is about 15 years old. And so the longstanding tower that was out here, they replaced after the new runway system opened. So we're grateful to have the tower that we do that was funded through the FAA. So the new terminal is built right around it. So it will still be a center, part of the mid center of the new terminal. So that's a good piece.
Great. Are there any questions from the committee? Seeing and hearing no hands raised or voices heard, I will entertain a motion on board bill number 18.
I move that we pass board bill number 18 out of the TNC with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman of the 4th Ward, seconded by the Alderwoman of the 6th Ward, that we pass board bill 18 out with a due pass recommendation.
Previous roll.
There's been a call for previous roll, or is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, board bill number 18 passes out with a due pass recommendation. Next on the agenda is board bill number 18. Rob?
This
19.
board bill is.
Or I'm
19,
sorry, did
yeah.
I say 18? Board bill number 19.
As I noted, this is closely related to the FAA tower lease. This is a license agreement for the city of St. Louis and the airport to access the FAA tower. As part of the tower setup in St. Louis, they're connected to our access control system for badges. There's CCTV cameras and a crash phone that the airport maintains at no cost to the FAA. This system, this license agreement allows us to access the tower to maintain those systems. Term of this agreement is July 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2028. And similar to the lease agreement, this is an agreement provided by the FAA is here, and please sign it mode. So we don't have much room for negotiation, but we do appreciate your consideration and we recommend your approval.
Great. Any questions from the committee with respect to Board Bill number 19? Not seeing or hearing any questions, I will entertain a motion on Board Bill number 19.
I move that we pass Board Bill number 19 out of TNC with a do pass recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman of the 4th, seconded by the Alderwoman of the 6th, that we pass out Board Bill number 19 with a do pass recommendation.
Previous roll.
Roll.
There's been a call for previous roll. Is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, Board Bill number 19 passes out with a do pass recommendation. Next on the agenda is Board Bill number 20. Rob?
Yes, we're really excited about this. This is a first amendment to a restated and amended agreement with OHM Concession Group. OHM Concession Group, if you've been through Terminal 2, they operate the local The Pasta House Schlafly brand restaurant in Terminal 2. And with this extended lease agreement for the 1,525 square feet down there, they're going to completely reconcept that restaurant as a local. It's going to be a Four Hands, Peacemaker, lobster and crab, both, local city restaurants that are going to go into Terminal 2. This is in effect a second amendment to the local concept beverage and concession agreement with OHM Concession Group. It extends the term of the agreement to February 28th, 2031. The revenue to the airport is the minimum annual guarantee of $375,000, and that's versus percentage fees. There's percentage fees outlaid in the agreement, but ranging between 10% on food, all the way up to 20% for different merchandise, and we receive that as percentages of their gross revenue. This first amendment adds a build-out period to allow for reconstruction of the premises, and during that time, the MAG will not be due. The ACDBE participation on this agreement is 100%. ACDBE is Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. That's the federal U.S. Department of Transportation designation. It's very similar to the city's MBE WBE program, except goals are set per contract. OHM is a 100% ACDBE owned firm. And just a word about OHM, it's a strong local success story. When I started at the airport, not quite 30 years ago, the OHM was operated, the husband and wife team that operated the bagel shop in Terminal 1. OHM now has locations in Salt Lake City Airport, Albany Airport, Pensacola Airport, BWI, Orlando, and Dulles, and they're the new prime operator at the Kansas City International Airport. So we're proud that they started here, and we're proud that they continue here. We respectfully request your approval of this amendment to the local concept food and beverage concession agreement with OHM Concession Group.
Thanks so much, Rob. I will take questions from the committee. Raise your hand or speak up if you have any. Hearing and seeing none, I will entertain a motion on Board Bill number 20.
I move that we pass Board Bill number 20 out of TNC with a do pass recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved by the Alderman of the 4th, seconded by the Alderwoman of the 6th, that we pass Board Bill number 20 out with a do pass recommendation.
Previous roll.
There's been a call for previous roll. Is there any objection to previous roll? Hearing no objection, Board Bill number 20 passes out with a due pass recommendation. I believe that's all of the board bills before us this morning. It is. That is wonderful. Thank you, Rhonda, Antonio, and Rob for your time this morning. We don't have any resolutions, committee discussion. Rhonda, I believe you sent out an invitation that's coming up here for members of the committee to attend a tour of the airport. Would you like to just kind of remind folks about that and talk a little bit about it?
Sure. No, we're excited to be able to host that. It's going to be June the 1st, and I know that not everyone is available, so there will be a secondary date that we'll look at in July. But on June the 1st, from 11 till 2, and we will do kind of a box lunch. We'll meet first here in my office area in our conference room, and we'll talk a little bit about the staff of the 3 deputies. Antonio, Jerry, and Ron will be with us as well. So we'll give a little bit of an overview of the airport, but then we'll take a tour. And I think the tour is extremely important. One, it's a pretty expansive tour, so it helps all of you to understand just how much property we, the airport and the city, own out here. And also, we're going to be bringing forward to you some exciting projects in the very near future. One of those is a substantial lease that I think Alderman or Chairman Cohn knows. We've been doing a closed session briefing on that. We'll be able to drive past those spaces so you have an idea of some of the property that we're going to be entering into some long-term leases on. We're also getting ready to put out an RFP, or request for proposal, for 300 acres. So as our debt has been paid down, we now have the opportunity to go out for some development that's non-governmental, because those bonds were originally sold for governmental use only. So there's a lot going on. And I think being able to take the tour and really see the airport and these different pieces of property that we're talking about is going to be very important. And while we're doing that, we'll also show if we move forward, where the new terminal consolidation would go and how that would be impacted. So we'll do all of that. I think it'll be a fun opportunity. We do have, I think, 3 members of our airport commission and joining us that day as well. There's some new board members there, so we wanted to give them an opportunity. So you'll have an opportunity to meet some of the airport commissioners as well. So we're excited about that. For those of you that can join us, if you'll park in the Terminal 1 garage, we will validate your parking for the day. And then my office is right here in the terminal. I'll send out some instructions to Chairman Cohn, and he can distribute those just on, where to come to my office. One other thing that just updates, and we are, as you heard Rob say, we're really excited about Peacemakers coming in. We think that it's going to be with 4 hands in Peacemakers for those of us that live in the city and have tried it. It's a great concept. They're very excited about being out of here and partnering with OHM. Yesterday, the Kingside Diner opened, and I know I shared that. We presented to the Budget Committee yesterday with Chairwoman Spencer on that. And Kingside Diner opened yesterday here in Terminal 2, so another great city establishment. So again, our partners out here decided to work with us on reconcepting one of the venues on the Concourse C that we felt was getting old. And then also, that's already been approved, that'll be going under construction here. Hopefully late summer will be a Shake Shack. So bringing some local concepts here into the airport. With the current facility, we don't have the ability to really add new restaurants because we are just space constrained post security, but changing out venues that we think have been here for a long time and being able to bring in local concepts is really something that we're excited about. So there's a lot happening, and I think when you join us for the tour, we can talk to some more of that and obviously answer any questions that you all have.
Thank you, Rhonda. So I just want to, kind of follow up on that. I've had the pleasure of taking the tour a couple of times now in my tenure down at the Board of Aldermen, and I've always found it to be very beneficial as a alderperson, particularly one that sat on TNC, to learn more about the airport and kind of the current events that are taking place there with respect to leases and land use and all of that. So I appreciate you all offering the opportunity for the new board and new members of TNC to partake in that tour. I'm not sure if I shared with you or not, Rhonda, but I won't be able to make it that day. I have a doctor's appointment that morning. So I unfortunately won't be able to join for the June tour, but I will hopefully be able to make it for the July tour. But again, thank you for the opportunity for the members of the committee, and I encourage all of you to attend one of the two upcoming tours that the airport is offering. So wonderful. I believe we've covered everything on the agenda at this point, and Madam Clerk, I believe we have one or two alder people to excuse.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Alderwoman Tyus, could you please excuse Alderwoman Tyus? And then other than that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn TNC.
Second. Keeping with the rhythm today.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.